Hello. Right, I just thought I'd do a quick video on the sharpener. A couple of people have been asking for it, and I would like to do a video on it because I bloody love it. This beast at the top here, I'm going to move it down for you guys because she's heavy as hell. Okay, I've been using it back here. My table that I've got here is a bit rickety, but it'll have to do for the time being. Over here I've got 5 different stones. We have 120 stone, 220, 400, 600 and then 1000. Now I like it so much I've sharpened everything in my house, so I haven't got anything that's blunt to it. So I've got this knife here, I'm not too bothered about it, it's really cheap. At the moment it's hair shaving sharp, I can shave with this if I want, so that's no good to us. So here I've just got a diamond stone, this is 400 grit. I'm just going to blunten this knife up. You don't ever do this with any knives, this is just for demonstration purposes. Can't imagine that's good for the stone either, really. Oh, look at that. I wouldn't dare to run my thumb along it. Oop, probably not in focus, I wouldn't dare to run my thumb along that like that, in the state that it was in a moment ago. Okay, terrible thing to do. Don't ever do that. So, how this contraption works, just up here, sorry about if any of this isn't in shot, yeah, it's not really, just here is like a little gauge. As this goes up and down, it's measuring the degree of the angle that will be on the blade, quite finely tuned, and so if you want a different angle on each side you can do that quite well. Now this part in the middle, it's got a nice locking system and it flips over so we can get both sides of the blade and it would remain consistent on each side, the angle that is set on there. What I might recommend is you put a bit of masking tape over the back of your knife just to stop any scratching. Now you want to get the blade here, no matter what shape the back of the blade is, you want to get the blade parallel sort of with this bar here, something like, and we just got an Allen screw in the top of each of these clamps. Now these clamps that I'm using here at the moment are normally for wider, longer knives, and isn't needed at all really for this size knife. For this size knife I've got another fitting like this. And this is just for single knives. Sorry for the lighting here at the moment, it's a bit crap, I know. So that's for the single knives. This one, these can be spread apart all the way to, you can do a machete with this knife sharpener. Right, so that's tightened on good. It's not going anywhere at all, you won't get that out. Now, there's a little adjustment screw here, which I'm not going to be able to turn now. Right, so that's turning. I'm not sure, am I tightening it or loosening it? Probably tightening it. Oh, now it's stuck. Right, there it goes. And what that does, there's a roller cage bearing inside there. And loosening that off, now you can see it moves much more freely. Dangerous game. So you keep that on side. If you've got a heavier knife with a longer handle sticking off the side, as you're sharpening it, you don't want it to drop out of the detents. So you just tighten that one up until you're happy with it. See, it locks in now. Much better. Okay. So now that you've got your knife tightened up in there, you would start off, I suppose, now that I've just ground the crap out of this on that stone, I'm probably going to start right down with the lowest grit of the 120. this is more coarse, it's going to remove more metal from the knife blade. And in this case of this knife, the metal's not very good, and that's why I'm not really bothered about it. So it shouldn't take long at all. Oh, very handy system here. Just a sprung loaded, and the bevel's on the edge of the aluminium plate with the stone glued on. Just sits in there like that, and that's it. Stone's on, it's not going anywhere. Brilliant. Now I have forgotten one thing, so take it back off. It is better to use these stones wet. So up here I've just got a little pool of water. I sit that in there, you see bubbles coming out of the stone, and you just wait till the bubbles have settled off. This one was already quite damp, so not too much bubbles in there. So now we'll attach this on here. And we'll place the stone on the blade, and now we can check the angle over here that it's about to be sharpened to. Now this is already set up for this knife, I don't need to mess around, but there are brass screws over here for tightening and untightening. This one, you want to do this one, allows the whole bar to move up and down, which changes the angle here. The one with the brass nut is for micro adjustments, just to get that perfect edge. Maybe you're doing 2 bevels on a knife, a micro bevel, and that'll be able to do the initial one and then move it slightly for the second bevel. This one we're not bothering, well it already has its micro bevel, which is what we're doing at the moment. So it's all set up in the right position, and now the next part, the actual sharpening of the blade, is down to your style, your preference, how you prefer your edge. If you're going to go all the way to the 1000 grit stone, it won't matter too much because you're not going to see any grind marks or anything on the blade. It's going to leave a nice satin polish on the edge of your blade. Now, there are 2 stops here which are movable, and how you set those up are you pull it all the way back and you make sure that the stone doesn't run off the blade edge, and you check the other side and then push it all the other way. The stone is still on the blade, still on the blade. If you wanted to adjust that, you just turn this and slide it back, or the other end as well. So now you see the stone goes too far. I wouldn't want to do that, risk catching my fingers or sliding off the blade with the stone. So we're just going to slide that back, make sure it's in the right place. This also ensures that you're getting the full use out of the whole stone from front to back. And I'm just going to move this one actually a little bit as well, because I don't like it being that far back. There we go. That way you don't get a hollow in your stone, and you can use the full length of the stone. Okay, so this is less of a stroke, turnover stroke, it's more of a time spent doing. So for this one, let me just see that you're in shot there. Maybe I can move this a bit better. Okay, the lighting's pretty bad for that, so not gonna mess with that. I'm not very good with the manual focus either. Okay, that'll do. Now with the 120, you can make motions this way, or you can swirl pattern. Swirling's good for me. You've got to be careful as well that as you're moving sideways you don't tip the stone up, because the edge can bite into the blade and leave a nasty bite in the blade. And you have to make sure you go all the way up to the end of the tip and try and use the whole stone. Okay, what that's done now is left a grey paste on the blade, and it's this paste which actually sharpens the blade as opposed to the stone itself. That's why we're using the water to form a paste, and it does a much better job than if the blade's dry. Right, we're going to flip her over and do the same for the other side. sure you get right up to that edge. This edge up here near the handle where the bevel drops off onto the heel of the knife. It's usually the difficult part to sharpen when you're doing it on a stone or with a steel. You find that the back edge of the knife, actually probably the more used part of the knife as well, doesn't get sharpened very well. Whereas in this case, you can get the entire knife blade. All the way to the tip. Not just the tip, but all the way to the tip. Okay. And a quick push off from the other side just to make sure that edge isn't folded over. Right, what we do now is change the blade over, the stone over. What I have forgot to mention actually, this gets very messy. So, just going to throw these on. When you get down into the finer stones, the paste gets very messy. So I use these just to keep my hands free and out of it. That. And a roll of paper just to take that 120 grit paste off the blade. Okay, now we're ready. Pop that off, nice and simple. Place it back there, we're going to move down. For this blade, we're probably going to skip a stone. I'm going to go right up to the 400. I'm going to soak that in the water, just like we did the other one. Oops, sorry, kicking the camera tripod. Right. Click that in, and just as before, over the blade. If you can hear it or not, I'm not sure, but I tell you, can definitely feel this is a much smoother stone. I'm just going to work it in circles. Back the other way as well. Make sure that the back edge gets some forwards motion as well as the front edge. When you do it this way and you're coming down on the other side. This stone feels very smooth. And pop that back edge again. Okay, flip the blade round. Okay, on to the next one. Now I'm going to move it just for the sake of being quick. You wouldn't normally, but I'm just going to go right down to the 1000 grit stone. Give her a bit of water. Clip her in. Clean off that previous grip from the knife again. And we're ready to go. 1000 grit stone. Very smooth. Literally this simple. Barely any skill required. With the hand sharpening, the main problem is keeping a consistent bevel all the way across the knife. With this machine, it just stops you from being able to do anything but one consistent bevel. So it's really that easy. And then we go for the other side. And what this is doing as well with 1000 grit is you don't really need to strop the knife after you finish sharpening when you've gone this far down the grits, or up the grits should I say. It leaves a perfect edge as soon as you finished with the 1000. And to get that, I'm just going to go really light now, just with the weight of the stone, just to polish that edge. And for the other side as well, with the really light pass, just the finishing pass. And that is going to be one very sharp knife. Okay, so we'll just unscrew that. Very sharp. I'm just going to look down the edge. Yeah, equal on both sides. Okay, sorry for the cut there, but I thought I'd just bring the camera and everything down to a level. If I've ever had a way of testing the knife, is to see, now that we've sharpened it, can you shave hair with it? One way to find out, just for you. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a sharp knife. Maybe we can get rid of my razor, man. Just sharpen up the knives. Don't do that with your kitchen knives, it's gross. However, there you go. One very sharp knife. I wish I had a macro to sort of show you that edge. Or even focus on it, come on. That's probably the best I'm going to get for you. Trust me when I say that edge is beautiful. Anyway, hope that answered any questions for you. If you need your knife sharpening, you know where to send them. Bye.